Visitors to the San Juan Mountain region of northern New Mexico and southern Colorado today can experience an unforgettable high country journey by rail. Trains of the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad travel up steep mountain grades, through lush mountain meadows, along rocky gorges, and across high deserts. The 64-mile route of this narrow-gauge railroad zigzags across the Colorado-New Mexico state border 11 times. The headquarters for the railroad is the small town of Chama, New Mexico, approximately 107 miles north of Santa Fe, the state's capital. The railroad yards and shops at Chama were built around the turn of the century and retain much of their original flavor even today. Visitors can explore the many artifacts found in the complex, including vintage equipment from the Denver and Rio Grande Western Railroad, which once operated over the line. Near the engine house, our locomotive is ready for the day's trip. The engines on this line burn coal, so cinders must be cleaned from the firebox each day. The crew shakes the fire grates, forcing the excess ash and cinders to fall out the bottom of the firebox. The accumulation of ash and cinders can impede the efficient firing of the engine. With the servicing completed, the engine backs down the tracks to the depot where it will couple to its train. Engine 489 has changed little since its construction in 1925 by the Baldwin Locomotive Works. 10 of these 282 Mikado-type engines were built for the Rio Grande. They were the last narrow-gauge steam power bought new by the railroad and were the real workhorses of the Rio Grande narrow gauge. This engine has 2 leading wheels, 8 driving wheels, and 2 trailing wheels. While passengers board the train, the engineer enjoys some liquid refreshment in the hot cab of the locomotive. The fireman is busy shoveling coal into the firebox in preparation for the steep climb to the top of Cumbres Pass. The train rolls across the Chama River shortly after departing the depot. Our train moves along quickly past thick groves of aspen trees in an area called the Narrows. Aboard the train, passengers enjoy the beautiful scenery along with the fresh mountain air, mixed in, of course, with an occasional whiff of coal smoke from the chuffing steam locomotive. One frequent obstacle encountered along the route is livestock. These horses reluctantly yield to the approaching train, only after much blowing of the whistle. Open livestock grazing is prevalent at the higher elevations of the San Juan Mountains during the summer months. Not surprisingly, the leading contributor to the local economy is agriculture. The Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad was originally a part of the extensive narrow-gauge Denver and Rio Grande system. Construction of lines to tap Colorado's rich mining bonanzas began in the 1870s. Eventually, over 2,000 miles of narrow-gauge rails were in use throughout Colorado and New Mexico. In 1968, nearly all of the Denver and Rio Grande Western's remaining narrow-gauge trackage was abandoned. Fortunately, the states of Colorado and New Mexico purchased 64 miles of the line from Chama, New Mexico to Antonito, Colorado. Following several years of renovation, the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad began operating trains in the early 1970s. The grade from Chama to the summit of Cumbres Pass is a steep 4%, meaning that the tracks climb uphill 4 feet with every 100 feet of forward progress. This taxes the locomotives and their crews to the maximum. During the long climb, the fireman shovels 1.5 tons of coal into the locomotive's firebox. The steepest part of the climb is always a challenge. The engineer must keep the locomotive's drivers from slipping while coaxing the maximum amount of power from the engine. As the train approaches the summit, the track's round Windy Point, an interesting rock formation where there always seems to be a breeze. At Cumbres, elevation 10,015 feet, trains stop to replenish the water supply in the tenders of the locomotives. Weather in the San Juan Mountains can be delightful in the summertime. On warmer days, the open-air observation car offers sunshine and unobstructed views of the fantastic scenery. Osier is the halfway point on the railroad. Perched on the side of Osier Mountain, this small railroad settlement is at an elevation of 9,600 feet. 2 scheduled trains meet here each day, one from Chama, the other from Antonito. Passengers detrain here to enjoy a hot meal or browse in the gift shop. During the break, the locomotives swap train sets so that each of the trains can return to its point of origin without the need for turning the engines. Travelers have several options to choose from on the Cumbres and Toltec. They can ride to Osier from either end of the railroad and return, or the more adventurous can ride all the way through from one end to the other by changing trains at Osier. Shortly after leaving Osier, the Antonito-bound train skirts the edge of spectacular Toltec Gorge. The view from the train is breathtaking. Exiting Rock Tunnel, our train continues its descent as the tracks skirt the Toltec Valley. Aspen trees are everywhere along this part of the railroad. In the fall, the changing color of their leaves provides brilliant splashes of gold. Approaching Antonito, the lush vegetation of the mountains gives way to the sparse scrub brush of the high desert. Our train will spend the night in Antonito, Colorado, the end of the line. Locomotives are housed in the small shop building near the depot. A loop track used to turn the train circles the depot and the shop area. Although Antonito is now the eastern end of the railroad, the narrow gauge rails of the Denver and Rio Grande once extended to Alamosa in the north and south to Santa Fe, New Mexico. The line to Santa Fe was called the Chili Line. Before departing Antonito, the locomotive is filled with water and coal, and general servicing is performed prior to its departure for Chama. The Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad offers a relaxing and scenic journey that's filled with history. It's easy to understand why America's highest and longest narrow-gauge railroad is becoming more and more popular each year.